talk about some Brawl Community in 2024. And I'm here right now with the Grunyan, the gatekeeper, and a couple of lonely hearts in the Twitch chat. So yeah, I don't really have any full idea of where to take this conversation. I just know that, how do I put this? One of the things I guess that's been a little bit on the frustrating is not the right word for it, but maybe it's kind of a missed opportunity. I kind of think is that we do a lot of this discussion, on the Discord or in Discord chat or just talking to each other, and for free, um, without like and a lot of it is a
There's no
content
payoff.
opportunity. Well, it's not even about payoff per se, but it's if the idea is that we got to start building something, right? We got to start building some foundation, and maybe one of the things that we can probably work on as a community is like being comfortable with the idea of creating a some sort of content engine, right? So that's why I said, oh, why don't we just hop
Definitely.
on and just start talking about this instead of just typing it out for sure. um, so, and yeah, what were we talking about before we hopped into the call? Besides getting you set up, we were talking about you
Well,
were looking to do some do some local stuff, right? Kind of going
yeah,
into the
I
next year.
I just invested in a new laptop that my plan is to start bringing to as many locals as I can, and offering to stream or record if internet isn't available for the local ultimate and melee scenes. Because one unit or whatever, but also selfishly, it's like a Trojan horse for the Brawl community. Like get my foot in the door to hopefully start getting brawl events going. Maybe make some videos with high level ultimate and melee players, get their takes on brawl. Um, I'd also like to put a bounty on my head, just offer $20 to anyone who can beat me at brawl at the local, and keep increasing the bounty to hopefully inspire some people to start practicing the game who wouldn't otherwise. And
You should call it
maybe get
"Beat the
locals going
Gatekeeper."
from there.
Beat the Gatekeeper. Unironically, that's what it should be. Oh, I don't know if you can talk about go USC, right now, because they kind of got shellacked yesterday in football. But the Trojan, the USC fandom runs fairly deep in my family. It's kind of like the unique one not to go actually to USC. That's a different thing. Yeah, no, that's a good enough place as any to start. So I'm just like jotting down notes so we don't kind of forget some of the things that we talk about.
Yeah, my
Um,
my big idea for a video is really doing like various interviews and maybe recording some gameplay while we do it with newer people in the brawl scene, people who joined and started competing after Smash 4 had come out or after
mhm.
Ultimate had come out. Because we've both been around in the scene a long time now. We started when Brawl was the most current game. I'd love to get some input as to why people are choosing to play it over other games and why other people should maybe give it a try if they
Mhm.
haven't before.
No, that's a good enough good as any place to start. Actually, that kind of you mentioned actually that you and I both have a history in in the Smash community. For both of us, particularly in the greater Kansas scene, but and then for probably for me more so than you, like nationally speaking.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
that's something that I think that we kind of need to um reckon with or kind of grapple with, in so much as there have been some actions taken that I feel like have been a little. It's, how do I put this? I don't want to say anything that would like ruffle too many feathers or be too inflammatory or
Sure.
something on those lines. 'Cause I think people mean well, but one of the things that we kind of have to grapple with is using the current and present resources that we have as best as we can, right? And for better or for worse, that means that there are people in the community right now that already have a kind of like a long history of their involvement in the community, and as such, they have a lot of connections or social capital, right? That they can try to utilize
Hmm.
to leverage to make the Brawl community better. Sometimes it's a little unfair, right? That these people have these resources and things, but I don't know if we can really necessarily choose, and work around it. But I do think that what you are talking about in terms of going to the ultimate community and going to the melee community and building out relationships and doing content with them and becoming part of their community, um
Yeah,
that's the first step to building those inroads to the community. Like, just thinking about back in 2000, flashback a decade ago to 2012, 2013. I probably was not the most popular person in the Kansas melee community per se, because the Brawl melee divide, but there's always
sure.
kind of a level of begrudging respect because I put on melee tournaments too, just for them, and that wasn't necessarily to um because I have a huge, profound love for melee per se. But at some point, I figure it's going to pay off down the line. And there's still people in the melee community in the Kansas area that if I call them up, they'll know who I am, and that's all of a sudden how we can end up with you know a Sweet Spot 7, impromptu tournament, and then a repeat Sweet Spot 7, Sweet Spot 8 tournament, so to speak, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, I think people have to kind of, if they weren't around in that early part of the community, I think that it doesn't mean that they shouldn't sit out and feel, a sense of hopelessness. I think they should probably take your route that you are going about it and reach out to their community and start becoming part of that community, so that way once you've put in a little bit of work, then you can turn around and say, okay, so now I've been doing this thing for you guys, as before it was a gift, but now maybe it's a favor, and I'm calling in a calling in a favor, like Godfather level of of stuff, but that's
Yeah,
definitely
and
the right way to go.
I could definitely start small, just play off of setups that I myself supply and maybe even offer it up as an alternative to like a traditional amateur bracket.
Hmm.
If someone goes 0-2 or 1-2 in their melee or ultimate bracket, put them in the brawl bracket for free. I'd throw a pot bonus in to sweeten the deal a bit and, just hopefully get some more people to try the game.
Yeah, like, do you think that we even need an entry fee for these brawl tournaments the way that we traditionally have? Like, you go to your your local, drop $5 to enter, and then the top two or three or four or six people get money out of it, or because I'm kind of the opinion, I wonder if
I don't think so.
yeah, I wonder if that gets in the way of us being able to to expand in some form.
No, I've been toying with the idea of doing free entry, but putting up, not a ton, but like $20 or $30 of my own money for payouts. And even if I end up winning most of them to start, because other people have less experience, like
Mhm.
I feel like more people would be motivated to try because they could still get second or third and get some of the payout.
Right.
And removing the barrier of the entry fee on their end, like they've got nothing to lose.
Right. Well, do you remember back in the day again? And I guess a lot of this stream might turn into Lux is just jerking himself off, so to speak, and talking about things that he's done and he thinks works and stuff like that. And I
No,
guess
I mean a lot of this is inspired by the way you ran tournaments back in the day,
yeah.
paying out of pocket, budgeting so that you would break even if you win the tournament, paying for people to enter other Smash games. You single-handedly funded and kept alive the Lawrence 64 community
Yeah, I was
for
about
like
to bring
two
that up.
years past where it would have died.
I was about to literally bring that up. I was about to say, George, you remember that time that Smash 64, like, I was just talking to Potts and he's like, dude, 64 is a cool game. You should play it. I'm like, well, yeah, there's no one that plays it. He's like, oh, you should host it. I'm like, all right, cool. So then we just started, I literally would take my Brawl entries and turn that, or the tournament winnings, and turn that into the Smash 64 scene. And that was, then we had at least a fairly decent Smash 64 scene going on, where people would have to deal with my fundamentals only Kirby And it's something
Hey,
to
you took some
think about.
names.
Yeah, at least locally, I'm sure. I don't know. I've thought about dabbling a little bit more into it now that I have one of those adapters for a GameCube controller. Because controllers for that game are so hard to come by that it's almost it's almost impossible to utilize like the original technology. I kind of feel like you have to go outside. Yeah, I'm gonna upload this VOD to YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
Ninja wants to know. Ninja can type that in the on the Twitch chat, right? It's an
Uh,
open market of
he,
ideas.
he told me he wants to watch, but he's busy with some work right now.
Oh, gotcha. Um, Makes sense. That makes more sense. I'm like, dang. All right, no, that's cool. Where were we? So yeah, I think that's definitely the direction that I imagine a community where everybody is doing that,
Exactly. I
like
was
in
gonna
Brawl,
say,
right?
like, I'm just one person, but if three, four, five, six, a dozen people who care about the game try and do this for their own local communities, we could exponentially grow the scene over the span of a year or two.
Right. And I wonder if, like, trying to be self reflective about it, I wonder maybe if I'm a little hypocritical on my end about this because, I'm telling people that they ought to do this, right? And I say this under the premise and benefit that I'm able to make these things happen because of my past work that I've done in the community. But there's nothing, I guess, really effectively stopping me from going out and doing this myself in the local SoulCal community, per se, right? Maybe I need to be better. Maybe I'll put this down as a note. Lux needs to be better about going to stuff in SoCal, to not be hypocritical. Like let's be honest and call a spade, right? Like maybe I need to be better about some of this too. In the same sense that we could all be better about it, right?
Exactly. I haven't been doing this up to this point, and I was like, man, it's time to walk the walk if I want the game to grow.
Right.
Yo, get Alex Valle on the horn. See what he can do for the Brawl community.
Well, no, I mean I could ask him because like unironically, I could probably go to Valle tomorrow and well, not literally tomorrow, but within the next few weeks if I wanted to, and go down to Garden Grove and just tell him, hey, this is why when I talk about it, if we want to have a venue for a bar tournament, something like that, I could probably talk Rich or Alex into letting us host a brawl tournament, at Barcode, which is the bar that they operate out of, which is free plug for Rich's bar. It's the best it's the best bar in Orange County. It is the official unofficial bar of the fighting game community, so to speak. If you want to run into fighting game community legends, you go to Barcode and Garden Grove. um like
That's good
they,
information.
yeah, I mean, he's been willing to host. For a while, I was hosting Ultimate 30s for him under the banner of Tipsy Tuesday, and then that was when Ultimate first came out. But then the pandemic happened and everything shut down, and I just haven't really got back into it. But I'm sure right now they're doing so much work with like Street Fighter and probably Mortal Kombat. But if I reached out and started making some inroads again, it might be something that we could do. Just um, the reason that I haven't, and this is maybe something else to talk about. This kind of lends into your Trojan horse for the Brawl community idea. Um, I don't know if we are at a position right now where we can do standalone Brawl events. That, for better
Yeah.
or for worse, we're gonna have to rely on at least um, kind of a foot in the door sort of method where we wouldn't be able to get people to come to a venue by itself outside of special occasions. But if we are at a major tournament and we let them, we say, oh, Brawl is free or something along those lines, we might be able to get people to enter that way just because it's convenient for them and it's, something to do and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Like, as opposed to having Brawl be its one off thing. But I do know that there's a kind of a push in the community to try to have um, these sort of, I know there was like discussion about like having a Brawl invitational and stuff like that. And um, yeah,
I
I just
think
don't
both would be
know.
great if we can make it work, but I
Right.
think right now the priority needs to be the Shadow Major
Mhm.
approach. especially since Brawl often seems to get day two as a side event at 3-day tournaments, and a majority of the people who enter Melee or Ultimate are out of their brackets by that point, and so if they could enter Brawl for free, I think a lot of them would.
Right. Well, like even then, like I wonder, especially because a lot of majors nowadays are doing they do top 8 on Sunday, right? Or like top
Hmm.
16 or whatever like that. And
Yeah.
at that point if you're how do I put this? If you're top 16, the only player active right now that might make it to top 16 in either like Brawl or Ultimate, not Brawl, Ultimate or Melee is the Buzz, right? That's literally the only player I can think of. Is there anyone else that's in that range?
Big D.
Oh yeah, Big D's in there. Okay, yeah, he because he played at SmashCon. That's true. That's good. So that's 2 players, right, of our player base. Um,
Gluttony. If we get Gluttony to come back to Brawl, that'd be pretty cool.
I mean that would be cool, but he hasn't entered. I'm talking about people that have already
Oh,
that have
recently.
entered, right? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Um, I guess Pelka made it pretty far in doubles in SmashCon, which is why he and I ended up playing our match like at 9:30 at night or something. I'm like, dude, you look exhausted. You sure you don't want to put this off till tomorrow morning? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm like, okay, dude, that's cool. But I offered, so I guess Pelka's may or may not play. Um, yeah, that's so there are not that many players though, is the point, that would be playing on a Sunday at some of these tournaments. I wonder if it might be better if we approach, just with the idea for some of these bigger events to say, hey, I know you want to put the hype around your big events, but a minimal impact on your scheduling is going to be if we put Brawl during top 8 or something like that. And if somebody's in top 8 in Ultimate, because of the money that's on the line, they're probably going to want to drop out of Brawl anyway, and we can live with that that exchange at the moment in terms of being a side event, so to speak.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an issue for the players in the top 8 or top 16 of the Melee or Ultimate brackets, but I feel like a lot of people who travel to super majors anymore really look forward to the day 3 top 8 viewing experience.
Mhm.
So I feel doing it during top 8, we would probably get less new players entering.
Yeah, that's probably true. That could be,
So it's a trade-off, though,
yeah,
for ease of scheduling, maybe getting our foot in the door in an event that we wouldn't be able to otherwise.
right. Viewing experience on top 8 might override. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I'd have to we'd have to like test it out on some level. I just know that maybe even not at the majors, but like for example, um Sweet Spot 7, right? It was a 2-day tournament, and we did Brawl on the Saturday, and that was mostly because I wanted to leave on Sunday, because I had been there since that Tuesday to go to a KU basketball game with because of my that Sweet Spot 7 was despite it being a what was it, is it a B tier, or it's a C B A? It's an ABC tier on our current Brawl
That's my blood type.
yeah, tournament rankings, but it was also simultaneously a bachelor party tier for for most of us, which is which is what makes
Pretty
all of
great
it that
weekend.
much funnier. Yeah, it was a good weekend for sure. It's good, reconnecting and all that jazz. But I wonder, like speaking of like the Sunday part, it's just because working out like costs too. I wonder if it's cheaper, instead of trying to fly on Friday somewhere, flying on Saturday somewhere and then returning on Monday might be better for a Sunday tournament, as opposed to flying on Friday and coming back on Sunday. I don't know. We'd have to like, I kind of what I'm not getting at is we should definitely say these are the ways that we should do things. What I kind of like, this is actually where the frustrating part has been in the community, has been, I think everything should be on the table. I think we should, because of the situation our game is in, we everything and every idea and every tactic should be on the table. The way that it's been going has been, it's been working to an extent, in so much as, I guess you can point to like SmashCon being the
Biggest Brawl
biggest
event in 9 years.
Brawl event in 9 years, but I don't know if we can count on that, in so much as that SmashCon was pretty big in general. Um,
Yeah.
and well, not just big in general, but like 2021 might not have been that big because we were just coming out of the pandemic, and a lot of Smashers are paranoid about COVID for pretty right reasons, and that fear has been
Yeah,
kind of subsiding more lately. So we're kind of like, I think part of SmashCon doing so well was people
the
are,
post-COVID boom.
yeah, it's kind of like we experienced what the restaurants were experiencing, late 2020, late 2022 or something like that, right? And people kind of want to go back to events, but now that like Ultimate is probably going to be sliding down a little bit in terms of how popular it's going to be, just because it's a year older. There seems to be at least a little bit of evidence that Melee is it's still going strong, but it's not as strong. It seems like overall as it has been.
Starting to sunset just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a sine wave, right? And it's probably in starting just on the downward crest, maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, but it's putting a lot of faith into a lot of these games that are and the size of their community, which means that it's absolutely imperative that we do not just let them drive what we're doing, but like we're talking about, do everything that we can to build relationships, make connections, and put everything on the table that we can to make inroads to convert people to play the game in the first place. So
absolutely.
yeah, it kind of feels like sometimes we have a little bit of a we confuse this sense of status quo and convert it into like the sense of helplessness, so to speak. And and that's what I want us to get out of. I want us to get away from this. This is the game. People make fun of it. Nobody wants to play it. There are plenty of good reasons to want to play the game, and we gotta give them good reasons to play the game. And I don't actually think that the irony about that conversation is I don't know if the game itself is going to be the biggest determining factor of whether people will play the game. As odd as it sounds,
Yeah,
a lot of it's just like the connections and the social factors that we do, the social leveraging that we do of talking to people, making friends, telling making it a welcoming place for people, and stuff like that. So that's kind of been something that I've been really thinking about and really trying to grapple with in the last gosh, so since I came back like almost a year ago, but definitely in the
yeah.
last definitely since since SmashCon, I think.
No, we really do need as many people as possible to be trying to forge these local connections in their own scenes because I would say a majority of the current Smash community as a whole doesn't even realize that Brawl still has a competitive community. And I think there's a lot of people out there that would give it a try if they knew it was even an option.
Yeah,
And starting at home is the best way to influence that, I think.
right. Well, let's talk about like some opportunities that we know that we have on the board. Like, let's think of a calendar for next year, right? This is something that I've been thinking about in the back of my head, at least in terms of this is what Lux is doing, and this is what Grunyan's doing. In affiliation with with me, or you can take over it. We can do it. This is Grunyan's plan, and Lux is on for the ride. I don't care. I have no ego in this. I have a lot of ego, but not necessarily. I'm willing to
Not in
hand this off to
this.
somebody. Yeah, this is just
No,
what
no, it's all you.
yeah, this is what the plan is. So uh, going through it, right? March 2024, early March, right? What was it? What is that
First
date?
weekend.
Is
I
that
believe
March
it's the second and third.
March 2nd and 3rd?
Yeah, it's the first weekend of March. We're gonna have Sweet Spot 8
Right.
here in my hometown, Lawrence, Kansas, where Lux was a resident for many years.
Yeah, it's the brawl house that Lux built, so to speak. So, and the player won the defending champion, all that stuff. But it's I don't know if that I wish that we're not the first tournament. Like, let's even backtrack because another opportunity that we're trying to work through right now is February. What is it? 16th through 18th is Genesis 10, right? And so far we've
Yeah,
been told probably not. Has been the answer. Probably not, but
they
possible.
haven't said they haven't said definitely not yet. So I think it's definitely worth still trying to get something going there.
Right. Like, how do I put this? The hardest part for us has been, and this is a big reason I think that the big house right that's happening in next week has not been as good, or the attendance is not as strong as you would anticipate for a tournament of its size, has been that we can't get TOs to commit to letting us run our tournaments more than like a month in advance or something like that, right? That's been kind of the hard part.
Yeah.
Because even I'm not, and the big house is not alone in this front. Like I had mentioned back in, back when I was running Sweet Spot 7 or getting set up for Sweet Spot 7, that I'm talking to the team that runs Wave Dash in SoCal on hosting Brawl, in June of I think Wave Dash last year was let me pull up the date here. It was June 17th and 18th, because the week before my wedding, right? So June 17th
Oh,
and
that's right.
18th. Yeah, I was literally gonna be like, okay, everybody come to Wave Dash, do this Brawl tournament, and then just stick around, and then we'll do my wedding the week after. Like,
It would have been a great trip.
it would have been. I mean, it's still a great trip. Let's be honest here.
I was gonna say it was already great, but I'm always down to have a Brawl tournament tacked on.
Yeah. I got a question. Did Genesis mention at all what would be needed to get a yes? They haven't said. I DM'd them and asked, and I even told them I would run it, and I would that I would organize volunteers and get equipment and stuff. So they haven't really said. I think they're just diplomatically saying no, right? Like that. It's just not in the cards. It's kind of what my read is into it. But but we haven't put in like any legwork to try to pressure them. Not pressure them's not the right word, but it is the right word. We haven't put any legwork to pressure them into wanting to run it per se. So it might be worthwhile to like do like some sort of a coordinated but look to be uncoordinated social media campaign where everybody just DMs them and says the Brawl community would really love to to be once again part of the Genesis legacy, and by the way, you should let Lux TO this tournament, so to speak. But
We're ready to come back home.
But if we can't get commitment on if it's going to be a major tournament like that we can do by, I don't know, November or December, I think we should just cut our losses and just say screw it. Like this is just, it's not going to be like a major tournament. They'll do a side event, then yeah, but like we know like for 90% sure that Sweet Spot 8 is going to happen. Like I'm already telling the TOs, they told us to start planning for Brawl to be there and all that stuff. And if we can get TOs to commit to it ahead of time, like this far in advance, in the way that we know SmashCon is going to have Brawl next year, that sort of idea, I think we should build off of that and sort of utilize that momentum. So we should do our best to get Genesis, because the fact that it's a major is too big of an opportunity to waste on the for the community. But simultaneously, if they will not commit to doing the event, with at least 2 or 3 months notice for us, we got to be serious about like, man, maybe we should go with the what's going to better use our resource and stuff like that.
Definitely.
In regards to Shadow Major approach, I believe P Plus have full guides written somewhere. Yeah, I mean that's probably helpful. We could probably take a look at some of the information. I just don't know if we necessarily need a guide on between the TOing experience of like myself, Chia, Player One in the community. Who else has been a major TO? I mean, Ori is at the big house is entering, and he's like literally the director for the big house's events.
Yeah, we still got Pidge.
Yeah, Pidge. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Don't even forget Pidge. Remind me to talk about Pidge.
Doing so much work for the community.
He does a lot of work. There's so much experience in the community that I think we're pretty dumb, but we'll be able to figure it out. It's kind of how I feel about it. So just give me some power outlets, and I will plug all the TVs into it, no problem. And then sometimes I'll trip over that plug and turn off everybody's TV in the middle of the tournament. Were you there for that tournament when I did that?
I was, and these things happen. Honestly, I think it would be good if that happened at the occasional Brawl tournament. Yeah. Now that we don't have tripping, we should re-add some randomness into the game.
True.
Supplemental randomness.
Right. All right. So where were we? We were talking about Genesis 8 or Genesis 10, March, and then June-ish. We'll say June. I don't know. What does that weekend look like in June? I don't know when they're going to do it, but they're telling me that it's probably going to happen for that 15th and 16th weekend.
Okay.
Hasn't
Is
been
that
announced yet.
located? Is that
Wave
located in
Dash.
Los Angeles?
Um, where did they do it last time? I don't know where they actually did it. I know it's in SoCal, and it's not too far from me. Did they do it at the 2GG venue? Hold on, let me take a look. Is it in La Mirada? Is it the 2GG venue?
I think so. Yeah, it's a nice venue.
Yeah, it's in La Mirada. It's a 2GG venue. That's like 25 minutes from my apartment in Long Beach. So very
Nice.
very very close for me overall. Yeah. Um, yeah, I spent many times in that area. Wave Dash. So we can try to hop into Wave Dash, and if I can get them to commit early, then that's like literally 3 months away from Sweet Spot 8. That Wave Dash should be hypothetically, if we can get it, again committed more than 3 months in advance, that we should make it like a major for our community, right? Um,
Absolutely.
and then in August, what was it? August, early August. What is August 2024? Have they announced when SmashCon is?
I don't think they've announced the exact date, but
Let's just say that it's like again 8th through 11th, right?
yeah.
SmashCon, right? 2024. That's in Virginia, right? Chantilly, Virginia.
Yup.
We need to get the same Airbnb again.
We do, because that place was fantastic.
Yeah, I could not believe it. Like that was such a steal. Oh my god, that was
I
like,
felt more at home on the couch of that Airbnb than I do in my own apartment. It was delightful.
is Genesis in Oakland? Is it? Is it Oakland? I don't
I
know where
don't
it's at.
think it's in Oakland anymore. I
I put
think it's back in
NorCal.
San Jose.
Okay, NorCal, California, somewhere up there. All right, that's like June to July, July to August. There's like a 2 month gap here, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 months, and then after August, you know, we have the big house, right? October, late October, um,
20th through 22nd this year.
right. So it'll probably be like
Who knows
18th through
about
20th
next year?
next year, right? Assuming they
Yeah.
do it. I don't know if the big house is going to do it like, that much longer. It seems like Jungle Guy is doing some interesting maneuvers with with the rule sets in Melee, which usually is the first indication that somebody's getting a little bored with the game. And when people start getting bored with the game, then that's where we start running into people not wanting to go through the effort every year to host major things. So I would put
Yeah.
the chances that there is no additional big house next year at like 10% instead of 0%. That's kind of how I think about it. It'll probably happen. I'm just throwing out there, right?
But
The
it
big
might not.
house. Yeah. And
And
that's in
also,
Michigan. What city in Michigan is a big house?
it's in Detroit.
Oh, isn't it in Detroit?
Yeah.
Heart Detroit? Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because
It is.
yeah, go ahead.
It's just on the river, like right across the border from Canada.
It's not Ann Arbor?
No.
Okay. Yeah, the big house is the name for Michigan's football team stadium. Actually, is what the nickname for it is. So that's where the name comes from. That's why it's so like tied in with Michigan
Oh.
University's Smash and stuff like that. So that's
I just
another.
assumed their prison system was really well funded.
The Slammer as the post tournament event. um, right. Okay. So then that puts us and most likely, if I had to guess on who's going to end up running, the big house tournament, right? Like pretty much year in, year out, that seems to be Chia that's running it, right? Um,
Yeah.
so let's see here. Oh, Chia.
Maybe
That's
Ninja.
that's
She might
Chia's.
pass the torch.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how that all that plays out. I could see it going either way. I'll put Ninja Ninja also there. Obviously, I won't get into too much about some of the interesting maneuvers that happened prior to the Big House's Smash tournament in terms of Chia
That's for
going.
another stream.
There will never be another stream on that topic. At least for me, I'm even though I was publicly, I'm probably not the most happy. I think one of the things that I also take into consideration is that Chia has been too good of a friend to me, but also has too much social capital in the community to not deserve the right to do whatever that she deserves, feels is best for the community too. Like that's part of that thing of like, you gotta have the social capital to wield it around, and Chia has earned that. There is a reason that Hungry Box is streaming Brawl at the Big House right now, and I'll give you it's a 4-letter word, and it's Chia's name is why that's the reason why it's probably happening. So that part is something to really take into consideration. So on that point, I'm not, it's not worth the grief of arguing over whether it should be the recommended rule set or not, because like I said, I argue about rules and stuff as an intellectual exercise, right? Like I want us to run the best rule set because I think running a bad rule set is bad, and that's kind of the end of it. I don't think running a bad rule set is going to cause us to not have a community and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I think the discourse to try to find the better rule set helps build the community. It shows that people are trying and stuff like that. So I get more frustrated, I guess, on people that are like, oh, this discussion is stupid, as opposed to saying, I can live with people disagreeing with me, right? I don't like the idea of people saying, "Oh, discussion is, is stupid" and stuff like that. And I usually will not respond. I want to say I will never respond in telling someone that their ideas are stupid until they tell me it's mine. But there might be times where I've just said, "All right, okay, your ideas are stupid. I can't. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect." I've told people that they can't read because they've just showed me that they can't read. Right? They're like they just start misattributing.
That's what happens, though.
Yeah,
you give someone 3 opportunities to read something and they won't do it. Like you have to draw conclusions at some point.
Right. At some point, the social contract is broken and all bets are off the table, and it's time to get into the state of nature. And it's about to get nasty, brutish, and short in here, or something along those lines. Yeah. Anyway, after that, what we need to figure out is a way to get an event in this, because we have a kind of this dead zone between March and October of December or January for that last event. So I wish that we could get like a December/January sort of thing for the game.
That would be ideal. But I don't know how many big tournaments are being run in that time frame, let alone ones that we'd be able to get something going at.
Right. Well, it's always been curious to me. It's in so much as like December is hard because people go traveling like for Christmas and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But simultaneously, it's like the New Year happens, and there's still like usually a few days before school starts and stuff like that. There's always that last weekend. Like looking at, let's look at 2024 going into 2025, right? Next year, January 1st, 2025 is on a Wednesday, right? And then I wonder if that means that school does not start again until the 6th, right? Because that's the Monday after that Wednesday. At which point then, it seems like prime time, like January 3rd to January 5th to run, like to try to see if there's like someone running like some sort of event. So if it were me and I was just trying to, get an event to happen, so to speak, right? I would make it, I would tell somebody you gotta push for the first tournament, the first major of the new year, or something along those lines. But that's just me. We can't control what other scenes are doing for their events, but that's just an idea.
No, definitely, that's a good point.
Because October to March is a long time to to go without like a lot of tournament activities. But I should put that I shouldn't put that I'm running a SmashCon because that's Pidge that's running it, but I am going to commit to running Ranbats at SSC. Actually,
oh yeah.
To be honest, I'm going to commit to running I'll do Ranbats at um
Wave
at
dash.
at Wave Dash too. Um,
Do we have time for it at Sweet Spot?
no, I'm gonna do it. I'll commit to that. Well, but or rather, if we don't have time to do it, I could structure the Brawl tournament to do round robin pools with a feed in bracket so that there are like similar to like the Rambats, like there's more crossplay for people, just so there's a bigger sample size.
We
Um,
can do Ranbats at my apartment. We'll make it happen.
yeah, something along those lines. Because for a sweet spot, at least my plan is to I have a plane ticket to come in. Um, I'm gonna come in on either the 2nd or the 3rd of March,
Okay.
and then oh wait, shoot, sorry, I can't come in on the 3rd because that's Sunday. I'm gonna come in
First or second.
on the 1st of March or the 29th of February. I can't remember what day I made the ticket, but I'm gonna stay until the 6th of March because I'm gonna go to the KU basketball game on March 5th.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, I'll be in town for like 5 or 6 days is my plan. Um, as a matter of fact, what I think we should do, because a lot of players have been talking about this, we should see if the Norwegians will host something in December or January, and we just go to Norway and freeze our asses off and do that trip that I was trying to bully Gardex into into hosting for us, the tournament.
That would be great. A surprising number of people, at least in Brawl Central, have expressed interest in going to Norway for the tournament. I would
Right.
go.
Right. So, Norway event? Question mark.
Get Gardex and Bike on the horn.
Yeah, it's just see what they'll do. They can run on whatever rules that they want to. They can do. But as long as we do the battle for the boat, then I'm in. That's the main thing. Got to do the battle for the
If nothing else, that can be a salty sweet between you and Gardex.
boat. Yeah, no. Well, I know that. Well, Mike Ray wants to do battle for the boat too because he thinks Snake is good on that. Fino was talking about going. Almar is not good on Rainbow Cruise, but beat Snake and Zero Suit Samus, so it might be interesting to see how that plays out. Player one loves Rainbow Cruise too, so Diddy Kong could be making a strong showing on the boat. So
Oh yeah.
if we can just get Reflex to come out of retirement, then we'll have like a pretty strong contingent of like Rainbow Cruise aficionados, so to speak, to play on that stage.
That'd be great.
I should ask Tear Bear if he'll come out of retirement because Tear Bear beat Rain on Rainbow Cruise like in early Brawl history.
Oh really?
Yeah, they did have Meta Knight Ditto there. It was kind of funny. I stumbled across that video I think a couple weeks ago.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like in a nutshell what I plan to host, right?
Yeah.
And as such, for better or for worse, I'm just going to use at the events that I'm hosting, I'm going to use the rule set that I think is best, and she is going to probably run the rule set that she thinks is best, and it's a high probability in some certain cases that there might be some sort of a Meta Knight situation going on it, or they're actually, to be honest, I don't really care about Meta Knight in the grand scheme at the moment, like in the way that I used to, because nobody really plays Meta Knight anymore except for Cody. But
No one else.
there's no guarantee that Cody's going to be allowed to come to my tournaments. We'll put it that way, based off some of the stuff that he said to me. So that's number one to consider, and he can talk to me about that. I don't care. But B, on the other side of it, I'm more concerned about if I'm running like optimal rules. I'm more open to the idea of just running better stage lists than anything else. And if Meta Knight dominates on those stage lists, then then we have a Meta Knight problem, right? And then we can address it at that point in time. So that's kind of that's where I'm at. I'm just it is frustrating to see rule discourse being what it is, and people are like, "Oh, ice climbers are broken. What do we do?" It's like, well, you banned all their weaknesses. I'm not sure what to tell you at this point. It's like, and you did it to keep Meta Knight legal. Why don't we just analyze things from the beginning and really take a hard look at the Meta Knight problem, then we can address the Ice Climber problem in the event that it continues to be a problem. Which, if I'm a betting man, it probably will not. But that's just me. But that's besides the point. The main point is that we need to start planning that these are the events, and then we got to create like a cultural movement like within our community, which I guess starts with the Brawl Central Discord, right? Of people want to go to these events. That this is this is what we're going to do. This is the plan. This is what we're going to stick to, and this is what we are going to make happen. If people want to run their own events and mold it into the plans, more power to them. I'm not going to get in the way of anyone else running their events. I think it's great that they should run their event. And then, if they're going to run their event, I think that they should do it during this 3-month gap for sure, or they should try to make it happen during this December, January period that we're talking about. Or they should do it like a month after Ranbats, or they do it a month after Wave Dash, or they should do it, a month after Sweet Spot 8, something along those lines. The only thing I should say is, stay out of the way of some of these things that we have going on, and we'll work together to make it happen. But also, at the end of the day, if a better opportunity comes along, like let's say hypothetically speaking, Genesis 10 was the same day as Sweet Spot 8, and Genesis 10 was going to do a huge, thing for Brawl. Like they're going to main stage it and say, oh, Genesis is a tournament born out of the legacy of Brawl, and it's about time we return to our roots or something like that. And it would have been literally like a week apart of the same thing. That I said, yeah, we got to go to Genesis then. Like that's it's better for the community.
Absolutely.
And then I'll just make a trip of I'm gonna just go see the Grunyan on March 2nd and 3rd, and we're just gonna we'll just play Brawl and in person and go eat at the Indian restaurant and all that fun stuff. And that would be my trip, right? And I could live with that. And then I would probably just make it a little shorter and just go to the KU game and that's it. But
yeah,
so we got to really analyze what opportunities are in front of us, and then actually, commit to doing them. Because right now we just kind of are, we kind of are fumbling around aimlessly. We don't have a lot of opportunities, so we let a lot of tournaments like kind of jerk us around and stuff like that. But a lot of it is, we got to plan out in advance. Like I know that, for example, we were talking about the big house being an issue in terms of getting them to commit too far in advance. We should be having those conversations about getting them to commit literally the day after. Yeah, like now. And, talking to them about it and just say that, we've been talking about this now for 6 months. Can we commit to it so that we can start advertising it sort of a thing? Because part of it is we wait for some of these application processes and, to host a side event and stuff like that. I don't think we should not be waiting for application processes. We should be reaching out to these tournament organizers, should be in their DMs. We should coordinate a social media campaign to make all that happen.
We got to be on them so much that it's just easier for them to run Brawl than to keep saying no.
Right, exactly. And there's, we don't have a lot of people in the community, but we have enough people that we could just like start posting like, on Twitter and stuff like that, and just like not bully people, but like just tell them, oh, can you run Brawl? And all of a sudden they see 30 comments independently saying, and all 30 comments have at least 30 likes on them. 30 hearts on them telling them to run Brawl. And they're like, oh shit, maybe we should run Brawl. Maybe there is actually some interest in this game. And we have a lot of people that are really dedicated, that have been putting a lot of time and effort into the game without a lot of reward, that I think if we can channel some of these passions and some of this energy into the game in the appropriate way, then, then we can actually make some strides in ways that we have not. But, that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of pocket. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe it is not in the cards and what we're doing is an impossible task. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I think that's a very good idea. I don't want to hear that it's an impossible task. There's already too many people in the community who every time someone suggests something that could be good, go, no, that won't work. People don't like Brawl. No, they don't have time. No, they need more money. Like, no, it's too expensive to travel for events. We have enough naysayers as is. We need, as someone who is generally fairly pessimistic, we definitely need to bring some optimism to the community.
Right. And not just optimism, Mike, just like optimism of the optimist of the will, pessimist of the intellect, but also some like discipline about it. Like I on my end, I'm literally budgeting out like $200 a month from for my budget in my life to put towards the game. Whether it's me traveling to places or putting on a tournament and buying equipment and stuff like that. I spent a lot of it, for SmashCon to get recording equipment and stuff like that. We have,
I've just done the same thing for
done the
Big
same thing
House.
for Big House, and stuff like that. We can, some of us are old men that have like daytime jobs and stuff like that, right? That today's economy is not perfect,
But
but
it's
yeah.
not. Well, I don't want to say it's not terrible, but we're doing all right.
Listen, it's not 2012 where we all have to get into a five people get into a 4-person Ford Focus and drive 10 hours to Colorado and try not to die, in the car and stuff like that. Like we're doing
Never
a little,
again.
we're doing broadly, I think, at least on our ends, a little bit better than that. So it's all just stuff to consider and stuff to push forward and. This is a good talk. I feel a lot more energized and optimistic than I did.
Me
How long have we
too.
been talking about this? Like an hour ago. I feel a lot more optimistic
Yeah.
and energetic about this than about an hour ago. And it's just sitting there and putting together, talking about what the plan is. I posed that question in our Discord server a couple times. What is the plan? I will change whatever rules that we need to if it helps accomplish the plan. But there hasn't been a plan, so then there's like no point to change the rules.
Time to make our own plan.
Yeah, time to. Well, here's the plan. This is at least our
Yeah.
plan, and if and none of this do the rules matter, that much for the game. And if the rules start mattering, then then we'll change them, and we'll because nothing is off the table. If people are saying that we are going to have to run Brawl Duelist to bring the game back, then I will play Kansas Duelist and grand finals with anybody that asks. Only thing that I ask is that they bring the beer themselves, and that's it. So
No,
that,
I'm already used to playing on rule sets that I don't particularly like or agree with. If I
oh,
were to
I see
play
how it
on
is.
one that wasn't my personal favorite, that was good for the community, I'd be thrilled. I would happily do that.
Yeah, right. Sweet. All right. Well, that's a wrap on that talk. Let me hit stop recording here.